Hey everybody, welcome back to the 139th episode of Taps and Patience, the podcast that is now a lot closer to their microphone for Dylan Jackson. My name is AJ with Subtract Manufacturing and Audacity Micro, here with Harrison of Precision Ingenuity.
What's going on?
Hi, Harrison.
How we doing?
Oh, pretty well. I'm in production mode at the moment.
Ooh, what's that mean?
It means that my mill needs to stay running at all times over the next couple days. It wouldn't be so bad, but Thanksgiving is making timelines really tight.
So is it because a job that you had lots of time on and didn't need to stress about, now you have lost all that extra time and now you need to stress?
This job was always going to be tight.
Oh, okay.
And then I made it tighter. So I took on a second job that I was going to mix in with this first job. And through the power of not paying attention, I guess, I made the short job take a long time.
Gotcha. So are you still running all of those small round pieces?
Yes. Yep. We're back in the full swing of those.
Gotcha. How many have you made so far?
I'm at let's see. With the cycle that's running now, I'll be like 130, 140.
Oh, okay. Speaking of running machines, I am running a machine right now.
Ooh. Me too.
Yes, but mine is quite a ways away. Oh,
yes.
I have audio turned on. But for those that are curious, there is my machine running lights out. Green light, robot running.
Woohoo.
Woohoo.
With this production job, this is the one that I have that little 3D printed finger for.
Mm-hmm.
Over the last 40 parts, I have had a 100% rate of good parts.
Sweet.
So it's been pretty reliable. I just moved from it being about an hour of unattended, which is 6 parts, to 2 hours of unattended, which is 12 parts.
Now, have you done any Op 2s? Is this only Op 1 so far?
I've done some. I'm behind where I should be on them, mostly because my fixture sucks and it's slow. But I have plans to remake that.
So are you doing one Op 2 at a time, or are you doing like a palette where you have a bunch of them?
At the moment, it's one at a time, and I need to not do that anymore.
If you've got your one machine automated to do the Op 1s, can you start feeding them into your Haas for Op 2s?
That's how it works, yes.
Oh, that's what you're doing? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you were just running one machine.
The Op 2s are a minute and a half. So
that's not too bad.
I've been much less focused on those. Whereas, the Op 1s are 10 minutes, but that's running largely unattended. The Op 2s, they're super quick, but getting them in the fixture right now is a pain.
What makes it a pain? Is it just the size?
So part of it's the size of the part, just small and fiddly. Part of it is my fixture design was dumb. It's just hard to get the part into it. The other part that really sucks is to index the part. I've been sticking a gauge pin in the hole to kind of line it up, and then I tighten the vise, and then I remove the gauge pin. And that's just, again, it's fiddly and annoying.
Gotcha. So is it fiddly because you're going from one tight hole to another tight hole in addition to trying to get the border to line up?
Correct. And it's a 20 thou hole.
What if you change that hole to a slot? Would that make it any easier?
On the vise, not on the part.
Yeah, on the vise, not the part. Because
I see what you're saying. Because it would still index the same. No, that could work.
It'd still index
that would work.
It would still index the same, but then it would remove any if there's a difference between diameter and hole location.
Yeah. First mistake on the soft jaws, because this is just running soft jaws in a vise. My first mistake, these parts are round, and because of that hole and me trying to get it away from the gap in the jaws, I put the part 3/4 on one side and 1/4 on the other side. So instead of you trying to fit this round part in half a hole and then tighten it,
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to fit the round part like in one tight fitting hole, and then you tighten it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because the part is basically fully captured by the soft jaws themselves, like without tightening the vise at all. Like it's fully captured in one half of the soft jaws. And I should have had it split right in the middle of the part, like you do 99% of the time.
Could you? Well, here's another. No. Were you worried about splitting it in the center with that hole? Is that hole just close enough to the center that it wouldn't work?
So my original plan was to use two dowel pins and put one in each hole of the part.
Mm-hmm.
And so I moved it to get both holes onto one one side of the jaws.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not using the middle hole anyway, and it wasn't necessary at all. As long as that one hole's lined up and the jaws grab it, it'll be indexed right.
Okay. Because
So,
one thing that I had to do, which we can talk about a little bit more in detail if we want to talk about the robot, but because my vices on my robot open and close, or because the vices in my machine are I have two air vices. They're
mhm.
connected to the same open and close lines. I have to worry about when it grabs one part out of one vice, it opens up the other one. And so I can't have the part fall into the gap. And so
Yeah.
I've had to make little inserts that can go into my
Oh,
vices.
yeah.
That way, when it opens all the way, it's captured all the way to the other side. So you could make an insert basically for that part that has both holes in it, but still centers up on your jaws.
So like an insert to go between the vice jaws.
An
Is that what
insert
you're
that
saying?
what I did was I just machined a pocket and I put a piece of aluminum in it. Like I machined like a square or a rectangle,
Mm-hmm.
and then I bolted that down, and then that basically just moved the center point over,
Oh,
but I
okay.
could still machine in the center, and so it's just the
That's
bottom is
interesting.
supported at that point across
Yeah,
both vices, across both. So
I I think I'm just gonna try basically same thing, but this time putting the split right in the middle of the part.
yeah.
And then I'm also going to do multiple parts across the jaws,
Hmm.
which the other problem that I'm having is it's really, really, really easy to over torque these. Even the torque wrench I have goes down to 5 foot-pounds,
Hmm.
and the 5 foot-pounds certainly crushes the part. So I'm ending up tightening it by hand with like a socket on the end of a screwdriver, and
Hmm.
even then I have to be really careful. And I'm hoping that if the load is distributed across like, at least 4 parts, it will, you have a quarter of the force going to each part,
Hmm.
and then I can have two vices that I swap out, and I'll load one offline and just hot swap them.
You can probably do two parts. Any more than that, I would be nervous without having something that is malleable to be able to take up any difference between parts.
I I've had that thought. My first thought was I try a couple times. If it doesn't work, then I just load the two parts on the outside and it's fine again.
Hmm.
My other thought is I'm really tightly controlling the tolerance on the OD of these parts.
Hmm.
And I was hoping that would be enough.
I think you'll find that you'll have a part slip. It doesn't matter how tight you make it. It's really hard to get really consistent because even if they're consistent part to part, if they if they're consistent and then like there's a little bit of inconsistency in your jaws or like if there's any inconsistency everywhere, you're gonna throw
Yeah.
apart. Basically, if there's no way to take up any excess slack. Um, the closest one thing you could potentially do is speaking of inserts though, if you wanted to do multiple parts, do you have any plastic?
I have tons of plastic.
You could do a plastic insert on one side. So do multiple parts in it, and then on the other jaw, do a plastic insert that you bolt in, and then machine half as aluminum, half as plastic, and then that plastic can act like a spring to be able to handle multiple parts.
I think with the low forces on this, the plastic would still not be deforming very much.
Yeah, but it would act like a spring. Like it would have more give than the aluminum, is what I'm saying.
Yes, but I think it would have less give than my part with 10 thou wall thicknesses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, these things, they crumple at the drop of a hat.
Hmm.
So maybe if it was a like a rubbery, or if there was some sort of flexure built into it. One thing I do have going for me is I am roughing the backside of this part with a 1/16 inch end mill.
Mm-hmm.
So like the forces on this thing are low. And I think I'm only removing, it's either 5 or 10 thou of material with a 1/16 inch end mill. Like, we are not hogging material, which is why I was kind of hoping I could get away by having more than one part in the doohickey.
Yeah, you might. You could be, but I remember very. Now, granted, this is probably an extreme example, but I remember back to my Tormach days in the Saunders Vice. I had a little zometry job where it was like a little tiny pen that was probably like an eighth inch in diameter, if that, and it had a little bit of machining on both sides. And I did a strip. I did a bunch of them, and then I put that strip over, and I think it was like roughly 20 pieces. And I remember whenever I would clamp it down, I would have a fraction of them actually grab on the other side. Where 20 is a bit of an extreme, but out of 20, I would have only 25% or so that would actually hold.
Yeah. We'll
So
find out.
just a warning.
Yeah.
At the very least, if you did 4 or even 3, or like if you did more than 2, you can always just go back to just having the outer 2.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, that's not going to hurt you to machine it in there and try it, but
Yep. I've thought about even just having a press fit fixture for these things in probably a softer material like Delrin or something, and just no vice action at all. Because again, the work holding forces need to be so light anyway that
well, for in that in that manner, could you design a flexure that was 3D printed that you could just stick into the vise that when you clamped it would put pressure on all the parts?
probably.
Kind of like that design I showed you today that
Yeah.
that I did. For those that once didn't see the photo, I have a 4.5 inch aluminum round piece that I'm trying to machine both ends on, and I've had this job before and it sucked because I ended up using the Lang what was it, the it's not a 3-jaw vise, and it's not even a vise, or it's not a, you know what I'm talking about. It's the Lang. It's like a,
Like a chuck?
yeah, it's like a chuck, but it has the pull studs on the back, and it's got 6 instead of, and you can pop them off. I forget what it's called. Anyways, I did it with that part, but the thing was so tall that whenever I flipped it over to do the other side, it was so weak that it kept popping out of it, and I had to go down to like a 16th inch end mill, and it took like 2 hours to
Yeah.
machine it because it was so fragile. Because the other end got really thin and weak, and just when I would try to clamp onto it with the chuck, it would deform like crazy, or it would just pop out.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what else you got?
So I've got 2 other jobs on the near horizon. One of which is a fancy belt buckle, which I'm kind of looking forward to.
Ooh,
And the last one is some small stainless parts. I think they're a millimeter in diameter. And excuse my mixing of units, but 3/16 inch long. I guess it's like what, 4 millimeters, somewhere in there. And they are very similar to a part that I made not too long ago. They're actually like a simpler version of them, but there's 75 of them instead of 10. The only problem with them is they're due like right after this big job. So if I run late at all on this big job, it's going to snowball, which I'm a little bit worried about.
are they both zometry jobs, or is this other one like a subtract job?
We don't say the X word here.
Sorry. Yeah. Hey, subtract was mentioned.
One of them is a subtract job.
Okay.
Um, but the other day I took a job that was a repeat job, and I ordered 8 feet of material for it, and then I did the entire thing out of one piece of remnant that I had. And it just so happens that the material I ordered last time is a little bit oversized, but is the exact right material for this job. So I'll be removing 50% more material than I would if I had just ordered the material. But I have it on hand. I'll salami slice the first op, second op, soft jaws.
Nice.
It'll be quick and easy. I bet I'll be at like, gosh, by like my quick estimate with like Toolpath and stuff, which I always end up slower because I dial things back because I'm a pansy. But I'll be at like $400 an hour according to Toolpath. So good job for me.
Yeah, that is really good.
And I don't need to buy any material or tooling. So
yeah, those smaller jobs seem to be pretty profitable for how much machine time is in them.
Yep. You just got to be not scared to take the small parts.
Yep.
I'll probably actually do the same thing I'm doing on this production job, and I'll just 3D print a finger for them, and I'll be able to get like, I don't know, probably 5 or so parts from one piece of stock without unattended. So,
Nice.
So, talk to me about your robot.
Yeah, it's running right now. So that's nice.
Right now, as in there may have been some maintenance issues with your machine earlier in the week?
Okay. Yes. Okay, we can get into that. So automation is not just a switch you can pull. It's not a lever that it's on and it's off. It is a whole process in finding out all the weaknesses and everything that you have. And one thing that happened last week that really stressed me out, and thankfully it got resolved, but for about a day I was quite stressed. We were running the robot and kind of doing some testing and whatnot, and it was right before I was going to do. We were planning on running parts that night, and so I was doing some final changes to the program to try to make it reliable. And I thought I'd finally cracked the code on getting good parts, and I was testing like 3 parts, and then I was going to go robot. And on the second to last part, it was running, and then all of a sudden the machine just died. But there was no power flicker. We didn't see, like, all the other machines were running in the shop. There was no light fixture. It wasn't like we had a power outage or anything. It was just like the machine was on and then it was off and there was like nothing. And I was like, okay, we must have had a weird power flicker that we didn't see and didn't affect any other machine. And so I powered on the machine, and the screen came on the controller, but the machine remained dead. No lights, no sounds of any normal machine startups came from the UMC 500. And I was like, this is not good. What's going on here? And so the machine gets powered on, and it's giving me an error message that the motion the motion sensor was triggered. And for those of you who don't know, and I think this was required by government, I believe, but on basically all new machines, at least all new Haas machines, from I think starting last year, or maybe it might have been last year or end of last year, something like that. Between when we got our VF and when we got our UMC, which is like a year and a half. So sometime in that window, it became basically law that CNC machines sold had to have this motion switch in them, that if Someone bought a machine, the machine would have to get activated. And it has, I was originally told that it had to do with Haas financing. And then once your machine was paid off, they would disable that feature. But then I talked to the apps guy while they were installing the robot, and he basically said that that feature is has something to do with national security, where they don't want people to buy machines and then ship them overseas, even fully paid off, and so it has to be activated by um, a Haas dealer.
My understanding is that is a limit specifically placed on 5-axis machines because they are considered like a ITARS thing.
Okay,
It's like exporting arms.
okay, so it's not all machines; it's just 5-axis.
That is my very novice understanding. Yes.
Okay, that would make more sense. Um, anyways, regardless of which, that board that Haas added has known factory defects in the very early versions, and when we got our machine, it was close to the early version, and or it was close to like it was in the window that could have been affected, and for all I know, it still could be because the switch is triggered 3 different times. But the most recent time that it flipped, it took out the I/O board in the machine, and that's why whenever I turned it on, we had no power to like anything. Like the lights didn't come on. Like the only thing that came on was the controller itself, and so we put in an emergency request to Haas, and this happened early in the morning. By later at the end of the day, they had someone out there. They got to looking at it. It took them about an hour and a half to 2 hours to figure out everything that was going wrong. And then once they kind of got it all situated, um, towards the end, once they figured out the motion sensor part of it, they also figured out that the I/O board had just tripped a breaker, and so it was able to come back on. But
Oh, so
it
they
was
didn't replace your IO board?
no, they didn't replace my I/O board, and they didn't replace my motion board. So I still could be affected, and it still could happen. But they
They didn't
just
replace it?
no, they just got
I
it up and running.
I mean, it's good that they got it up and running, but like your machine's still under warranty. It's a defective product. They need to replace that board.
Yeah.
I
So
would ride them on that.
yeah, I was just excited to get my machine up and running again.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the good news is this is they said that if you have known warranty issues, like if something happens later and they've had several calls during the warranty period, they will extend it to cover those other issues. Like they'll still cover it. If it's
Do
like
you
an
have that in writing?
I do not have that in writing, but I need to try to get it in writing.
Yeah. You need to get it in writing or get it fixed.
Yeah. So, I'm fighting that issue, and then the other issue I'm fighting is the Axis Lube system. Whenever they assembled this machine, it was around Christmas, and I think whoever assembled it was already on Christmas break mentally because almost all of the oil fittings for the Axis Lube system were basically finger tight. And so they got a lot of those fixed, but this and the error used to happen daily, and now it happens once every 2 days, 2 or 3 days. And so it's still there. They still haven't resolved it 100%, but it is significantly better than it was. And so we ran it over the weekend, and from Sunday night till this morning, we had our longest continuous run, which was from about 7 p.m. to about 6 a.m. And it had 10 parts left to do, and then the axis loop error occurred.
Ugh, that's so annoying.
So
Though that's a good argument for buying like the Haas DC1 if you're doing it at the end of the year, because that's a Chinese machine and they don't do Christmas over there.
there you go. Yeah, so anyways, all that to say, all the problems that I've had with the robot have so far been on the UMC side. except for one. Our robot might be defective slightly. And I think I talked about this, but did I talk about this last time?
I don't remember if that was on the podcast or not. So
Okay. So, short story, the way the UR's robots work is you have to tell them a weight that they're holding. That way, when they're moving around, if they hit anything and they detect that force, if it exceeds a certain amount, they'll just shut down. And one of my joints, they think it's the base joint, might have a defective sensor of some kind that's in that, because if you move at 100%, it doesn't it gets its load calculations wrong and thinks it gets hit and will just stop.
yeah,
And so they're sending us a new robot. I
good.
have not got confirmation on shipping, but we're having to run it at a slower rate. It works as long as you keep it under a certain percentage. It just you can't go fast because the sensor wigs out or whatever.
Are they reintegrating it for you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good.
It should just be a drop-in replacement, and the VersaBuilt team will come out and switch it for us.
Is it making a notable cycle time difference?
Yeah, in the wrong direction. Like
The
it
ro-
takes
the defect in the robot, is that slowing down your cycle time?
yes, the defect in the robot is slowing down the cycle time. So I think they normally quote, less than 45 seconds to do a changeover, and it's probably closer to like a minute and a half with the robot slowed down.
Okay. A minute isn't so bad. A minute and a half is kind of long.
Yeah. So it kind of depends on what it's doing in there, but it's longer. Some of that can be fixed though, in just how they've got some of their waypoints structured. And that's one thing that's been kind of cool about the whole integration with VersaBuilt. And I don't know if this has been just because they haven't done one of these systems before, because I believe I'm one of the first UMC 500s that is getting loaded through the side window and that has two vices on the table. To the best of my knowledge, I'm one of, if not the first person to do that with a VersaBuilt system. And so our local integrator has been working with one of the programmers, and so if we have like requests for things, they just implement it, which is super awesome.
Yeah.
So like they've been really quick to like make changes that we would request, just with how it's trying to move around the machine and where the sequence that it'll go in to do certain things. So I got one thing that I want to hit them up on whenever I get a second, to that'll hopefully speed things up a little bit. But as for cycle time, we were really efficient with a pallet, which I knew we would be. Like I'm never gonna beat my cycle time per part, loading it one at a time versus a pallet. But the initial cycle time was a little surprising, and it almost made me wonder if it was worth it for a little bit, if I'm honest.
Wow.
Because we were running these parts, one part roughly every 9 minutes. And
Mm-hmm.
when we first got the robot running, we were about one part every 18 minutes. And
So
then
twice as slow. Half as
so
half
half
as
as
fast.
fast,
Twice as slow.
half as twice as slow, half as fast. And we were typically running 10-hour days. So that means I would only be gaining 4 hours at half speed extra of parts at the speeds we started at. I'm happy to report that we've had a lot of optimizations done since then. And now I'm down to about 14 and a half minutes. And I think I can get it under 14 minutes for a full
So,
completed part.
so 50% ish longer.
50% ish longer, but over a 24-hour period, it's a lot more parts. So if my capacity was roughly 250 to 300 a week, I will jump up to almost 500 parts a week, roughly.
Nice.
And the big game changer is the fact that during the day, no one has to worry about it. Like it doesn't seem like it takes that long to go once every 30 to 35 minutes over and change out a pallet, but it completely derails whatever
Oh
you're
yeah,
doing. And so it's really hard to build up at like focus on something if every 30 minutes you're getting pulled away. And so just the mental freedom of not having to worry about that through the day is way offsetting the time savings of manually loading pallets.
definitely.
So I'm really happy about that. And the one piece flow is amazing as well. Because the other problem is if we had a whole bunch of pallets and we did a palletized robot, we'd have a ton of parts and partial states across all the pallets. So
Well, unless your palette was two parts, one op one and one op two or something.
yeah, but you're always going to have one that's half done until you get to the end of the job, and then you're going to have to run all just the second halves. Like you might be one piece flowing through the pallets,
Okay, yeah, no, you're right.
but you're
Yeah,
but
because if
like
you have 20 pallets, then you'll have 20 in process.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So from that perspective, it's really nice to kind of have a one piece flow. And I do kind of have to eat my words a little bit because I didn't think I could do one piece flow through the system, but the integrator kind of challenged me to do a second op jaws and to try some things, and it's working great. And so not only has my even though my cycle time has gotten longer, the quality of my parts has actually gone up quite substantially.
Hmm.
So
Because of
the,
one piece flow?
be, because of one piece flow and because I'm not palletizing, because I'm holding one part at a time in an air vise, the air vise gives extremely consistent
Hmm.
force part to part. And because of how everything is designed, the force is getting distributed to the part extremely consistently, like all the way around. Like the way I was doing it before, whenever I was palletizing it, is I had a mighty bite clamp and then two pit bulls, and I was putting all the force through the center of the part, and the center of the part was getting eaten out, and so I was losing all of my holding power as the part was being made. Because I'm using one piece flow and I have an air vise, and I'm grabbing along the whole strip of the bottom, and so it's a lot more stable, and there's a lot less deformation while it's being machined.
Have
So
you noticed a difference in your scrap rate?
I haven't run enough of these part. Well, my scrap rate is probably going to be pretty close to the same. I did scrap several parts trying to get Op2 to work, and a lot of that had to do with like I had to lower down the pressures on the vise lower than what VersaBuilt recommended to
Uh-huh.
make it work. And so I'm like 20 to 30 psi lower than their minimum psi recommendation, but it's been stable and reliable, and so I'm not too worried about it.
Setup parts don't count in my head towards like the scrap rate.
Yeah, yeah,
They're not intentional per se, but they're not unintentional either.
yeah. It was a lot of learning and like trying to run these in an op to vice basically, because I've tried running these in op2 vices before, but the problem I always had was the inconsistency of kind of like what you're dealing with right now with your part, which made me think like I think an air vice, just a regular air vice in your machine is something that I would invest in after using these air vices.
Hmm.
Just for the
That's interesting.
consistent force and the ease of just like hitting a foot pedal and having it open, throwing it apart, hitting a foot pedal and having it close. Like I think I would like to get an air vice for manual loading and like being able to control like it's like being able to control the force in a lathe, like on your chuck
Yeah.
pressure. It's the same thing just with vice parts.
I've heard of people who do that. Like, I don't think that's that unusual. Now, normally it is a bigger production setting, but
Yeah, but like
that's what you do anyway, I guess. So
yeah, it's what you do anyways, but like just for even
that's what
like
you do anyways.
yeah, for like just job shop stuff where like pressure is an issue, like if you do types of parts that are hard, then having the ability to just adjust it down and then hit a button and then it's just that force and you don't have to fight torque. I think it's a lot more valuable now seeing it with these than I originally thought it would be.
No, that's valid. I mean, like once you have, a acceptable quality vice, once you have like an acceptable quality machine, like that work holding force is one of your biggest causes of inaccuracy.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to distort a part by over tightening it or whatever.
Yeah.
So no,
And
I'm with
like
you. It's not a bad idea.
yeah, and like for like really low force stuff, really low force or really high force, like the two extremes, I think are really good reason to get a vice, like an air vice. So, but like it's been a it's been a decent learning curve. It hasn't been nearly as hard as I would think I thought it would be. It's been really easy, honestly. So,
Would you feel comfortable DIYing the next one?
VersaBuilt has done a lot to make it really easy. Um, I would love to play around with the UR robot. That's the one thing I didn't really get to do with this whole system is like they have their own layer that goes on top of the UR. And so we didn't really get to teach it points in the traditional UR method. That being said, I think there's a lot you could do with just a UR robot if you were just doing it on your own. It's like it doesn't seem like it would be that difficult. It seems like it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I think some of the more complicated stuff that they do with it, I think you could do on your own. It's just they have it really dumbed down where just a regular Joe Smo can just walk up and just throw parts on a table and hit run and it'll just go. Like
Nice.
they do a lot of stuff to like do all the math in the background for you. So which makes it really freaking easy. So like we've been talking about adding automation to other machines, and like I would be really comfortable setting up like 100-piece run on the VersaBuilt system. Like it doesn't have to be thousands and thousands of parts. I would be very comfortable setting up short runs and
Yeah.
just having it run a couple days unattended. So,
Cool.
but yeah, and I'm sure other integrators like Lights Out or anyone else who uses cobots or robots, I'm sure they all have uh, similar user experiences. But I'm really glad we went with someone who was local, who we have a healthy relationship with, and who is also happens to be our Haas HFO. So it's
Yeah,
like,
that's big.
yeah, having them be the Haas HFO and the robot integrator all under one roof, so nice. Like that's one of my biggest complaints about using other brands is like with Haas, it's a one-stop shop. That's one of their big strengths. Like if I add 5-axis or 4-axis to a 3-axis machine, it's all from the same company. Having added a fourth axis to the Doosan and a bar feeder to the lathe and having other third party people come in, if anything goes wrong, it's a pain in the butt
Yeah.
because everyone wants to point fingers.
Eddie, yeah, because it's never their fault. It's always the other end.
Yeah. So thankfully, I haven't had too many problems with either of those, but like I've seen enough to know that if that day comes, it's going to be a pain.
Yeah.
So that is the nice thing about Haas. But yeah, lathe is going good. Lathe is
I was
just
going to ask that. Live tooling yet? Live tool cutting on that yet?
not yet. We did just pick up 2 more medical parts, and one of them we
Good.
have to do live tooling on the lathe. Like we can't not do live tooling on the lathe for that part
Because it's long and skinny and the cuts in the middle, or what?
because of how the turned parts match up to the lathe parts or to like the lathe features. So like indexing and lining stuff up
Just
It's
like
got,
precision wise.
yeah, more or less.
Okay.
Like you could probably do it another way, but it's got milled features that are ID and OD, and it would be really hard to hold it and keep them concentric and lining up
Yeah.
without doing it all in one machine. Like I have access to all of the features I need to do on one. Like it would either be 100% mill or 100% lathe. Like you wouldn't want to mix them, basically.
Yeah. Makes
So
sense.
so I'm looking forward to running those. Well, looking forward and dreading.
But that kind of work is really probably what you need right now. Is like your best money printing machine?
Yeah,
At least it will be once you start getting the live tooling done with it. But
yeah. And I've been real happy with the lathe so far. It's been cranking out parts. Like before, we were always up against the deadline with the old lathe, and now I think we're like 3 weeks ahead.
nice.
So like it's speeding us up a lot on that one job. And so I think Weston has 2 or 3 more weeks worth of parts to do for this year of that job, and then we're going to be switching over to 1,000 piece run for a different company that will probably be our first live milling job.
Nice.
So, and the parts are going to be a lot easier. So, they will have some tight tolerances, but it's not going to be anything hardened. It's going to be relatively soft material compared to what we've been doing. So, like, we should be pretty comfortable walking away from it.
Good.
So, it should be able to just spit out parts, and I should actually be able to use the bar feeder, because that's been the other thing is I haven't really been using the bar feeder yet on this job, just because
Funky bars.
our 3 foot bars are bent. So
Yeah. It's a bar feeder, not a taco feeder.
yeah, exactly. So the Trusty Cook liners are nice, but they're a lot tighter than the Haas ones, which is a blessing and a curse with the bent bars.
Could you 3D print some replacements that are a little bit bigger?
Yeah, and we've talked about that. So that is a possibility. I just don't want to get so big that they vibrate around in there.
Yeah, yeah, that would obviously be bad, especially on
So
tight tolerance parts.
yeah, so it's a balancing act. Like we could do that, but I don't want to. So
That's fair. Just don't get
um,
warped material next time, and it'll be fine.
yeah, it's not supposed to be, but I checked that box.
Yeah.
Unwarped. So no, it's going good. Today we had all 5 machines running,
Nice.
and we put an amp meter on it, and we peaked at around 220-ish amps
Don't you
on
only
our.
have 200 amps?
Yeah.
No, you have like 400. You
No,
do have 200.
we're getting 400. We don't have it yet.
Oh.
So like,
So you're above your breaker limit?
yeah, for short periods.
Okay.
So short enough that it like didn't flip, but like we put it on like max and recorded it, and like we got right around 210, 220-ish. So
So don't use the toaster.
yeah. Now, average running, like if you took it off peak, I think we were around 140 to 120 ballpark, like average. But it could spike over 200 pretty
Yeah.
easily, if depending on which machines were doing what. So the one nice thing is that the robot technically only runs when the mill isn't running. So so that is kind of nice. They don't really compound.
Now you just need to like hook up your two lathes with an interrupter so they can't both speed up their spindle at the same time.
Speaking of 2 lathes, I did get a second air compressor.
Oh, nice.
So we got 2 air compressors now, and we're going to be switching A weeks and B weeks. So
Okay. Are
so we
they
got
different brands or
nope,
same brand?
same brand, exact same air compressor. We just bought it without the tank or the Dehumidifier, or not, what do you call it?
The dryer.
Dryer. Yeah, dryer. So,
Okay.
and we just plumbed it straight into the other tank.
Can you
So
hook them up in a lead lag?
you can, but we have the same breaker going to both machines, and we just have a throw switch where you can select which machine you want the power to go to.
But if you can set them up with a lead lag system, why not just do that?
Because we don't have the power to have two air compressors
To,
running right now.
okay, fair enough.
Do you not remember
Yeah,
the
yeah, okay.
220 amps that I was just talking about?
Um,
And the nice thing about the air compressor is it's continuous 15 amps. So like once it's on, it's just going to take the whole thing and shift it by 15 amps. So
yeah. Well, that's true. I guess I don't know how well because the screw compressors like to be on all the time,
yeah, and ours never shuts off. Now
but
we have enough
with a
machines.
lead lag system, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, with that, the second one would probably be shutting on and off because I can set different points for things to come on and off. And so it would only come on if demand exceeded the first one for an extended period of time. So, but I don't have capacity issues. I just have a fear of the air compressor going down and then us not being able to run the shop because I've got 5 machines going and enough work to keep them all busy. And if that air compressor were to die, we would be hosed.
Yeah.
So
And you guys use a lot more air than like I do. Because if my air compressor died, I could run to Lowe's and get something to keep the machines running for, a couple $100.
yeah, no,
But you need more.
we are burning through a lot of air these days. We
Yeah.
haven't reached the capacity of our machine yet. I haven't seen it dip down, but we are using a decent amount of air. So, and did I mention last podcast that we got approval for the addition on our building?
No. Oh, that's big.
Yeah,
Because now you don't have to buy a new place.
yeah. So we got an approval. It's going to add close to 900 square foot.
Okay.
And I have no idea when we're going to actually start implementing it, but we've got all of the paperwork in place that we can start moving in that direction.
Cool.
So
Is that like 1 year, 5 year, 10 year? Tomorrow?
year and a half, if I had to guess.
Okay. 6 months from now. Got it. You're going to
So
need it in 6 months. It will take time, but
yeah, it's gonna take time. We gotta get it all planned out. But I pretty much already know that I'm gonna be sticking a Swiss machine in there for pretty much
ooh.
sure. My
How
medical people have enough parts and they are begging me to get a Swiss.
how are you going to do the building? Are you going to do like a pole barn style building? Are you going to do stick built?
It's gonna be a metal building with wood purlins, like a metal frame
Okay.
with wood purlins, and then metal sheeting on the outside. Same construction of our current building.
Okay.
So
Because I was literally just also looking at the cost and logistics around building also a 900 square foot building by sheer chance. Was yours going to be 30 by 30? Because mine was going to be 30 by 30.
35 by 25.
Okay. Yeah. My shop is 60 by 30. No, wait. Is that right? Yeah. My shop is 60 by 30. And so I was looking at basically making it 90 by 30. It wouldn't be too interruptive to my yard or anything. Um, and it would let me get a couple machines that were more than 8 feet tall. Or really, the limiting factor is fitting through my like 65-inch door or whatever it is.
How hard would it be to get like a taller door section, like modified to make that work?
We've been through this. I can get it taller. I don't remember what the max height was. 84 inches or something, I think is what I could get out of it. I could get it like Speedio ready, but if I wanted like a med center or anything like that, I would need a bigger building.
Gotcha.
And I could throw in, if I threw on a 30 by 30 building, I could probably get like what, 2 med centers in there. And if I'm just doing Audacity and just me, that's all I'll ever need.
Yeah.
So, um, and yeah, a 30 by 30 building isn't that expensive. I could do it over a couple years, or I could just go buy some other building in Muncie. But um, these are
Yeah.
options I was literally looking at today.
I will say, like, I don't have a lot of experience with automation. Like, I'm just dipping my toes in the water, but I think it's going to completely change how we do business now that we kind of got a taste of it.
Yeah, I am not surprised at all on that.
So, like, and I think you will find that whenever you finally do get a 5-axis machine in there, it will completely change how you do business. Like, I feel like the change from going without automation to automation is almost is like this. It's like going from 3-axis to 5-axis. So like
Yeah.
it's the same thing, but it's a completely different world.
Yes. I mean, even my not a 5-axis changed my business. Like,
Yeah.
and that was, it was like $1,800 or $1,200 of used 0 point system. Um, yeah,
And I really want to try gimbal now. Cause like
I do
if
too.
cause like the robot that we're using, the CNC is going to be even more precise than the robot. And I feel like
And
people
faster.
and faster. So I really want to try gimbal. And I really want to do it in the SVM because of how fast that
Hmm.
machine is. Like,
Yeah. Hey, Michael, if you want to sponsor us, we're here.
yeah, I've had a couple nice long conversations with him, and we like I said, we almost pulled the trigger on gimbal before we went to this. I'm glad we didn't, but part of me wishes we had been able to do the gimbal stuff.
I think you priced yourself up too much with Gimbal. Like you made like the whole beauty of that system is it's so cheap for what it is, and then you you added everything to make it expensive. Like you priced out the most baller Toyota Corolla of all time.
Yes, but I was looking for basically a turnkey.
I know, and that kind
So
of like I'm sure he does a great job of it. I just feel like it defeats the purpose of the system.
yeah, well, not necessarily. Like I think I think about that system the exact same way I thought about the robot. I want to have someone who knows what they're doing get me set up and let me hit the ground running so that I'm not struggling with it for a month or two trying to find all the pitfalls of the system. I can have someone who knows what they're doing, who's done this before, get me running. And then later down the road, if I want to add more of that capacity, I will be far more comfortable bringing in the next one on my own.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not saying that you were wrong,
yeah,
but it like I don't know.
it doesn't, I don't
I
think
don't
it would
know.
be that hard to do on my own. I just wanted the comfort level of having all the bugs worked out because my mental capacity these days is stretched extremely thin. And so I just don't have the time to focus on it. In fact, the Magwells, if the robot runs all night, will be done in the morning. My production for the year on those on that job will be complete potentially
For the
tomorrow morning
year.
for this year.
Wow.
So
Are they do they have more parts to throw at you if you have the capacity? Like of those magwells?
not until next year.
Okay.
So they just got done doing sales forecasting and they aren't going to be as desperate to start receiving any early next year as they were last year because last year it was a new product and they were building up their inventory. Now
Yeah.
they have their inventory built up. And so the first month or two next year, they actually are not ordering any. I think it's going to be the third month when they place their order for the year.
So you
So,
got the process all dialed in. Now you have to wait 3 months to use it again.
no, I have other jobs that I
Okay,
did
for
not
the
get this.
magwells, I meant.
Yeah, for the Magwells, yes. But I did not get the robot and the Magwells is a nice bonus. That's the main reason we went with that system was because I could do the Magwells. but I have a different job that I'm working on that we're doing a first batch run of roughly 3,000 parts, and then it's going to turn into a reoccurring job. And basically, in the process of negotiating price, I negotiated a higher initial price under with the promise that that higher price would help me invest in automation to get future prices down. And
Okay.
so that's part of the reason we ended up with the robot. So, and I should be starting that job maybe later this week. I still got to
Nice.
design and get everything programmed for the robot, um, with everything else I got going on. But the we were trying to get the magwells out of the way because I had a pretty dialed process for those already.
Have you
So
named your robot?
we have
What's his name?
Milo.
Milo.
Milo
Milo.
stands for mill loader,
I like it.
so it's Milo.
There's also a Milo in the Bobiverse books.
So Weston Chat GPT robot names for, and that's one that it spat out, and it was the best one. So that's one we
That's
went with.
great.
So,
Are you gonna make
but
Milo work on Christmas and Thanksgiving?
I would make Milo work every day that I can.
I'm sure
So
he just wants to work.
it's it is really nice. Like it just works. We've had a couple, like, I can understand people who would have problems with automation if they just expected the system to work right out of the box. Because they came in, they got the system set up, and they did like 90-95%. But I've gone in and I've tweaked a decent amount of stuff at this point, just little tweaks here and there to make it work good on the magwells. And it's not hard stuff, it's not complicated stuff. I mean, it's just hand editing some G code here and there, and you know, figuring out different commands and whatnot. And but if you don't take the time to do that last little bit is what makes it a hands-off system versus something you have to monitor closely.
Yeah.
So, and one thing that we did get running to kind of help us on the time savings is we have some tool checks for the robot, or for the um, UMC. And we got there was a fast tool change YouTube video on for the Haas machines, and we copied that code and we got it working on the UMC.
Nice.
So for those that are curious and those that want to implement the same type of thing, I'd have to go see if I can find the video again. If you are using a 5-axis and you use anyone's like high speed tool breakage control for Haas machines, make sure you zero out your 5-axes before you do the tool breakage control.
No.
So
Was this learned for the hard way?
it wasn't the hard way. We took it very slow, but the tool breakage control that we found was for a 3-axis machine, and because our machine it didn't zero out our platter, and because our platter was not zeroed and it was still referencing the platter, it thought the probe was in a different location. And had we just put the code in and just let it run, it would have crashed pretty hard. And so it took us a little bit to figure it out, because I think we did zero out the platter, or no, we did add in the code to zero out the platter, but we put it in the wrong location.
Mm.
And at that point, it had already calculated where the probe was, and it wasn't where it thought it was. So like, basically making sure everything's in the right order to
Yeah.
so it knows where the probe actually is. And in the 5-axis world, because your planes can tilt and move and all sorts of fun stuff, if it tries to calculate that location in the wrong order, bad things can happen. So,
Yep.
but relatively simple fix once we figured it out. But scary to watch it, because the tool breakage control on the UMC was like 36 seconds, and it dropped down to like 5.
I need to see if I can speed that up on my Tormach. I'm doing
So
tool breakage check in a couple places on this program. I originally had it in like twice as many places, but to save cycle time, I stripped out like half of them, but it's still kind of slow.
yeah, like using it now on the UMC, now that I have the fast tool brake control, which that was one thing that was pretty nice that we did, is that we still have the normal one that comes out of the box. We just added another option,
Just
basically.
like added a new macro.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
And so it didn't override the old one, and so we can go back to that one at any point, which is really nice. It's real easy to just go. We can choose in Fusion which one we use. So, um,
I should probably talk about Subtract Some.
yeah,
Jacob told me to talk about it in the first hour of the episode or something like that.
15.
Oh, well, it's the first hour and 15 minutes. So I think that'll do. That'll keep Jacob happy.
No.
So Subtract has been really good at breaking even lately, is kind of where we're at right now. We're, not losing money. We're not exactly growing our reserves at the moment either, though. And right now, like, we're starting to really heavily focus on sales. So at some point, we sent out an email to all of our vendors that said a Subtract is moving from alpha to beta. And that's, pretty much where we're like, that's a pretty accurate description. Is up until recently, we were kind of in the alpha phase. Our software was rough. We had a lot of things that were kind of hand patched together for like quoting and stuff. Our systems weren't particularly efficient, but now that we have our custom ERP fully in production, which we have not officially named yet, but it's been called SERP for so long at this point, it's probably just going to be SERP. But so the rate at which we can do quotes has gotten really good. Managing orders has gotten good. We have some quality of life stuff that we need to work on, like automatically generating emails. But for the most part, everything's there. We are automatically generating purchase orders and quotes and invoices and all that stuff. But now we are on to figuring out sales. That's really our big focus right now, and probably will be for the next year. And we've tried a couple things, some of those kind of half-heartedly, some of those a little bit more seriously. I have been working on following up with past customers. That was like the lowest hanging fruit that we weren't doing very well. And by not doing very well, I mean not doing. And so I've been following up with at least one or two customers every day for the last, I don't know, several weeks, at least during the weekdays.
So, question:
Yes.
How do your Subtract customers deal with you guys mostly? Like, what is the main form of them submitting parts to you? Is it just they reach you out an email? Do they go through your website? Like, what's that look like?
We are probably 25% RFQs come in direct email, and then 75% they come in directly to the website.
Okay.
So 25-75 I think is about right.
Okay.
As the website gets better, that ratio will probably go up even more to being, basically all website.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where it's at right now.
Okay.
And let's see, I've lost all sense of time, but just the other day we had a big kind of, meeting between all of us where we nailed down our plan to build a sales system over the next couple weeks or months. And like, we did a big brainstorming session. We figured out what we want to do and how. And now we figured out what we want to do, but not how. And now we're trying to figure out the how.
Gotcha.
So, and I've been doing some like cold emailing and stuff, and it's not working. What does work is podcasts and YouTube videos. Whenever I put out a YouTube video, we get a couple Subtract quotes. So, pushing the YouTube a lot more, building like more of a, quote unquote sales funnel where, you go from the YouTube video to, like a free resource on our website to our newsletter to sending us a RFQ and stuff like that.
Have you thought about offering a discount to customers who want to try your service and have it all documented on YouTube?
It is a sort of. If you check an NDA that you want an NDA, we charge you a little bit more. So it is
Okay,
assumed that it will be social media or on social media unless you tell us otherwise.
gotcha.
Um, and so, yeah. And we charge a little bit more for that because you're taking away our marketing. And there is a little bit more care that we have to do if you do have an
Yeah.
NDA job. Most customers couldn't care less, though. So let's see. And the other thing we have talked about, and this is an idea that I both love but also have reservations on, is doing some like product Kickstarters because we
Mm-hmm.
want to get into the Kickstarter market of like making stuff for people who are doing Kickstarters.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way we could think of doing that is by just doing our own Kickstarter. Like, between Scott and I, we have that core competency of being able to, put together a product and a Kickstarter in a pretty short period of time. And, it wouldn't be a loss leader necessarily. Like we would try to make money on it, but the goal wouldn't really be to make money on the Kickstarter. The goal would be to like kind of get into that market more and kind of show off what Subtract can do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there's a big conversation if that's a good idea or just a distraction, but it would
It's
also let us do content about
it's
it.
it's it's a unique marketing approach. I won't say it's good. I won't say it's bad. It is definitely unique and plays to your strengths and experience.
Yeah. So we'll see. Obviously, it hasn't happened yet. There was a couple other things on our list that I'm probably forgetting, but
Any thoughts on what would be a good product? Like, are you thinking something that would go across multiple shops? Like, what type of?
so yeah, it would be something that we would obviously make via Subtract Network. My concept was to do something kind of opposite of Design the Everything, where
Mm-hmm.
Design the Everything was like find a thing that people use all the time and then make a nice expensive version of it.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, I guess this is maybe not opposite, but find something that people use all the time and make a nice but relatively cheap version of it. So instead of making a $200 pen, maybe we make a $20 pen.
Gotcha.
Something because we want a large number of people to be able to buy it because
Yeah.
that's how like that would help our advertising. Um, So I have some ideas on things that we can do that way that would be in the $20 range, which I think is a good number to sell a lot of them on Kickstarter. So that is all still in the concept. Like maybe when I start doing numbers and figuring out like how much things would have to cost, like maybe that's not the way to go. But
Yeah.
that's the current theory, emphasis on theory.
Have you added any finishers to the network? Anodizing or anything like that?
We intended to add some shops that were just finishing shops. That was kind of the original plan. That has not gone well. It's not that it's gone badly. We just haven't found any of those shops. But what we have done is added some machine shops that have more finishing capability. So I'd have to go look at our list now. But we can definitely do heat treat as one of them, tumbling, media blasting. I don't remember if we have anyone that does ano right now. But even some like plating.
Would you want to disclose on the podcast like roughly how many shops are in the network right now, or is that something that you guys are wanting to?
Of no, that's fine to disclose. So we like of the shops that are able to take more than one part a week, we have about 6 right now. That is not counting me because I don't want to take a part a week. Of the parts that, or the shops that I don't think would take one part per week, we have like it's 9.
Okay. Well, that's definitely growing.
Yeah, we took on a couple new shops. So, and basically because we knew we had a couple shops like me, and we were counting Jacob as one of our shops, and we're not taking work right now very much from Subtract.
Yeah.
So
If you can help it.
if I can help it, yeah, because I need to be making videos because that's the best thing I can do for Subtract right now, apparently.
And talk about it in the first 15 minutes.
And talk about it in the first hour and 15 minutes. Hey, the first hour and 15 minutes isn't up yet. We still have 30 seconds. Thank you very much. I can, let me pull up that brainstorming document we did and make sure I didn't miss anything. Here, we'll play this for Jamie. I remember the other thing. So we wanted to start, and this would be for existing customers, but like, you know how like Send Cut Send and the 3D printer copy Prusa, like they always include like a little snack inside their thing. It probably wouldn't be a snack, but we want to get to the point where our packaging is a little bit better, and you know it has something for the, you know, the people who open it, and then we'll probably start sending out some like customer care packages.
Do you have any like stickers or cards or merch like what you have to do for Xometry?
I have a small number of stickers that I have, and I think Jacob has a couple too. But no, our shops at the moment do not have any sort of branded packaging or materials.
Do you require your customer or your suppliers to put everything in unlabeled boxes? New, like
No, they can put their own name on it.
no, I meant like reusing an Amazon box or a Haas box or you know.
We probably should. It just occurred to me for the first time that should be a rule. Because you're right, that would look much more professional. I don't think any of our shops right now would, but yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we should do that. That should be a rule.
I the only reason I say that is because Xometry has that as a rule, and
Yeah.
I know people on the network who did not know that was a rule who haven't been doing that on the Xometry network. And I've
Hey, that's why they give you all the blue tape. It's for covering up the Haas logos.
So, yeah. So if you are on the Xometry network and you didn't know that, go look at their terms of service or
their packaging guidelines.
Yeah, their packaging guidelines, whatever it is. Yeah, packaging guidelines. Yeah. Anyways.
Well, speaking of packaging guidelines, we have a package of Patreons. Our Patreons include, but are not limited to, Alex at Mill City Roasters, whose coffee I am still drinking. So thank you, Alex.
Yeah,
Christian O, Stephen M, A Dead Horse, Daniel R, James at Moultrie Made, Ryan at Strato Manufacturing, Austin W, Kyle at Kursk Machine, Devin at Sinister Machine Works, James N, Bennett Prickly Pear Prototypes, Cam S, Shep at Alderson Prototyping, Jacob at Zona Precision, Jason S, Joshua H, Christian Z, Freaky Climber, Prescott at 1Z 2Z Systems, Trey V, not Trey Z, that's a different guy. That sounds like a rapper. Alexander B, Scott Designed the Everything, Jamie at JSpec Engineering, Chris at Zyke Precision, EJ at Nocturnal Welding, Chris at Thought Bomb Design, and as ever, Jake Brownson. We also have new Patreon member, Devin at Bozeman CNC, which I almost read as Chris, which is, yeah, I'm great at names today.
Jacob puts together this list every week. Jacob, if you're listening to this, can you do me a favor? The Patreons are basically always in the same order. Can you like mix
No, I will die. I would not be able to do it anymore.
Mix one up every single time. Just move one person out of order.
I would no, please no. All of our Patreons get all of our what do I say here?
All of our Patreons get early access, or
all of our paid Patreons get early access to our episodes. Jacob generally gets them up on the same day, which, depending on my teaching schedule, is either Sunday or Monday. All Patreons, whether you pay or not, and yes, there is a free tier, get
Access to
access
the
to our
questions.
Q&A, which we did not do this week for
Did we
reasons.
have any Q&A, or was there just not?
The Q&A call did not go out because originally we were going to record this yesterday, and if we were going to record it yesterday, it would have needed to be a short episode. But then we
Okay.
moved it to today, and it did not need to be a short episode.
I was wondering why there
And
was no Q&A.
so there was no Q&A. Actually, this can be a long episode because I want to start a new cycle on my machine before I go to bed, and it's got at least 45 minutes left. So this could be
Gotcha.
a long episode.
You got any other questions about anything that's going on in my world, robot wise or otherwise?
I feel like there was still Patreon plugs. IMTS meetup next year. That's a thing. There was one other thing we were supposed to plug that I realized I was forgetting. Oh, I remember what it is. If you're watching this on YouTube, we also are like a normal podcast. And if you're watching this on like normal podcast, or if you're watching it on Zencaster, like apparently I do according to Jamie, we're also on YouTube. So don't forget the other format exists. Also, and Harrison probably doesn't know this yet, but we are working on separating out finally the Audacity channel from the Taps and Patience stuff. So Taps and
Oh,
Patience will end up on its own YouTube channel, separate from Audacity, because one, clarity in different businesses, and two, it murders my channel. So we need to get that fixed.
it messes up your channel.
Yeah, because podcasts are always going to have lower views than like a headline or YouTube video,
Mm-hmm.
and because we publish so many more podcasts than I do YouTube videos right now, so it's like 1,000 views, 1,000 views, 1,000 views, and then one of my videos comes out, which maybe could get 20,000 views, but then YouTube doesn't push it because this guy only got 1,000 views for the last 3
Yeah.
videos.
Are you going to do a separate channel for Subtract, or are you going to do that on Audacity?
Subtract has a separate channel. I think at this point it's mostly just a placeholder, but it does exist. So it's in the cards that the Subtract channel will be a thing. It will be pointed at our customers, though, not necessarily machinists.
I expect to see some high quality videos then.
You're talking to the wrong guy.
Well,
no,
what you need, shop tours always do a really good job. You need to do shop tours of people on the network.
Yes, that is in the cards. That is one of my plans.
Because if you did shop tours of people in network, you would be advertising both the people in the network and the business.
Yes. That is very much in my plans. Part of our problems were so spread out, and there's no one close to me. But yeah, I would very
who's the
much
closest
like
shop to you?
I actually don't know. It's not EJ. I can say that with confidence. Nothing
not
else,
EJ.
but that I can say. I have at least one shop tour lined up this year, maybe early, like first week of next year. I have another shop tour with a much bigger company that is in the works. That is an undecided date. I was hoping to get it mixed like on the same trip as this other shop tour, but I don't think the timing's going to work out because of the holidays. There's a local company here in Indianapolis that has a ton of really cool equipment that I need to get a hold of. We used them as a vendor at my last day job, and I got to do just kind of like a walk around with the owner. And they
That's
have
cool.
this mix of like nice high tech CNC equipment, and then they have this giant shop that's like every weird manual machine that you've ever seen or heard of.
That'd be cool.
And they like at one point they're like, okay, we're gonna do all the kind of work that none of the other shops are able to do or want to do. So they got like big, huge manual lathes, vertical and traditional. They got Blanchard grinders and just like like the more jig bores and just like all of the cool old manual machine. Like
Ooh,
it's probably the densest shop in the state in terms of like mass per square foot. It's awesome.
that reminds me. I have a question for our listeners. I need a good recommendation on a boring head for CNC machines. Speaking of like
Say,
stuff,
did they answer? What about the one Dylan was talking about?
I don't remember which one that was.
Neither do I. But it sounded like he had done his homework, and our business plan.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is after this, I need to go hit up Dylan. Hey, Dylan,
Yeah,
what
just
was
copy whatever he does.
that? But no, I was running a part today and we bought a reamer for it. And the reamer ended up being a piece of junk.
Really?
And oh my gosh,
Where'd you get it from? Throw him under the bus.
carbidereamers.com or something. I don't know.
Huh.
So Weston reached out to one of our suppliers. Oh, what do you call that? They aren't a vendor. They just like stock everyone else's stuff. They sell everyone else's stuff. Anyways, he just told them what size reamer they needed, and they found a company and bought the reamer and then shipped it to us. And the only reason we did that was because the normal one we use is we normally get them from, I think, Titan USA. We normally use their reamers, but the size was too big for their normal range. And so we didn't have any normal companies that we would use that had them. So Weston just asked, in this case, it was Blackhawk. Hey, can you find a company that has a reamer? I need one this size. And
How
they
big was it?
0.801. And most
Like 801 thou?
yes.
Okay.
Most companies that we use stop at 3/4 of an inch. And I think that's when people usually go to boring bars or like
That
boring
makes
heads.
sense.
Um and so I'd like to have a boring head that could go down to from like a 1/4 inch um to like an inch and a half, like somewhere in that ballpark of ranges. And I think that would solve a lot of my reamer woes because
By not remarine.
by not reamering, yeah, just because like they've been a necessary evil where I feel like I've bought enough reamers at this point that I could have just bought a really nice boring head at the beginning and just been done with it, not
Yeah.
had to fight this issue. And this last part just did it in for me. Like I wanted to chunk this reamer across the shop, and I probably will. I might go back and do that tomorrow just to make me feel better. Just because this
I still
reamer
have a
is.
reamer that I need to return to McMaster because I ordered the wrong size.
So I figured out what was wrong with this reamer, and the reason this reamer did not work. I was using it in stainless, and the reamers, like I said, we normally use are Titan USA, and they have a cutting edge on the full length of the flute, on like the full length of the part that is there. This one only like the top quarter had like a cutting, and the rest of it
Really?
was, yeah, the rest of it was designed just to like hold it in center and just rub against
Yeah.
the walls. And instead of rubbing, it just like chips would get up there and then it would just like chip weld to the tool and just waller out the hole, and it just looked like
Weird.
ass.
Huh.
And so like the very bottom of my reamed holes would be perfect, and then as soon as they got out of that section into the other section where it was just supposed to be rubbing or like holding center,
Burnishing.
yeah, it just looked like junk.
That's interesting.
It was horrible.
I
Hit
wonder if that's like I don't mean to be rude. I wonder if it's a skill issue. I wonder if it's just like there's some speeds and feeds thing or some like trick to that kind of reamer that you just don't know
maybe,
because it's a weird reamer and I don't
but
know.
like all my other ones that I've used from like my best luck I've had has been with like Titan USA reamers because I've used other brand of reamers and had problems, but like Titan USA ones have been the best that I've used, at least from a consistency standpoint. That, and for really small stuff, I've used Harvey reamers, and those have been really good too. But I've tried a couple other odd brands here and there, and this carbide one it's I think it's high speed steel, but it's from a Carbide Reamers is the name of the
Yeah.
company. So
You want to see something cool?
yeah.
So this is a work in progress, but the other day my daughter came to me and it was like, "Dad, I want to make a knife." And so we started working on a knife, and she's done a really good job on it.
Nice.
So, do you remember the A2 job of Banana Doom?
Mm-hmm.
This was a leftover piece of steel from that A2 job.
That's awesome.
But the
Did you
she
heat
did a
treat
really
it?
good job with the blade. It's not heat treated yet. The handles are just kind of on temporarily with like 2 dabs of super glue, and we're going to pop them off and then do the heat treat.
Would it be rude to say that looks like a prison shank?
I mean, at this point, it does. Before we put the handles on, it looked really good. The handles being half ground don't look great yet, but for an 8-year-old, she's doing a pretty good job.
No, that's honestly awesome.
So the metal came from the banana job of Doom. That wood came from a tree that used to be in my parents' front yard that my grandmother planted. It was a dogwood tree that my grandmother planted when my mom was, probably my daughter's age. And that tree died. And we cut it up, and I saved some of the wood and we milled it up. So the wood is a family heirloom of itself. So
nice.
just kind of a cool thing
that is really
we've been
cool.
working on slowly.
Yeah. Can you are you gonna like laser engrave anything onto either the handle or the blade?
Yeah, we were gonna put, something like, my daughter's name and
The date.
made with dad and the date or something.
Yeah. Do you have any like Kydex or anything? Like, could you make a sheath for it?
I have a 3D printer.
No. You could do that too.
We have leather too. But.
Leather would be cool. I was trying to think. I feel like we had something else going on.
I caught a mole.
You caught a mole?
I caught a mole in my shop. He was just wandering around, and I put a tumbling basket over him and slid a piece of polycarbonate, and then went and threw him into the compost pile.
I remember what I was going to say. I didn't know Jacob was putting those AI videos at the end because I never go
the music
the music, not videos, the music, because I never go listen to our own podcasts. And then you mentioned that he did that last one with the mouse that that died tragically in your shop after
but
your
he
family
lives on
thanks
to that song.
So now I need to go back to all our old podcast episodes that Jacob's put those audio clips in and just figure out what they're about every time.
I also do not listen to our own podcast, and I kept getting comments on the videos about the music at the end, and I was like, "What is Jacob doing?" But he made me go listen to the mouse one, and I about died.
So yeah, I need to go back and re-listen to him and figure out which parts of the podcast stick out enough to Jacob to make music about.
I think we told him to make a song in the. I think he literally searches the transcript for the word Jacob, and then listens to those parts.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe from now, like for next episode, I'm just gonna like whisper Jacob into the mic every now and then, so that he has to listen to the whole episode.
That's funny. No, this next podcast, I know what this week's soundtrack is going to be about. You not plugging subtract in the first 15 minutes.
All right, Jacob. There's your challenge. Hey, I did it in the first hour and 15 minutes.
It's gonna be something like I tried to beat it into this guy to talk about this in the first 15 minutes and it didn't happen. And I'm losing faith. Oh, that'd be funny.
Oh, do you know the other thing I've been doing a lot lately? And this is in part because I've had the big production job
Yeah.
where I've had time. I've been doing a ton of shop improvements and just like kind of doing the lean thing.
Yeah.
And I've been recording YouTube shorts on them, which have also been fairly popular.
Yeah. I have a long list of lean improvements for the new robot as well. Yeah, lean is it's really nice like the more it compounds over time.
Yeah, which is like literally the whole selling point.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense if you only do it for 3 weeks, but if you do it for a year, then you're like way ahead.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like it's little stuff. Like it doesn't have to be anything super impressive. Like Weston got a Keurig for the shop. Maybe because we got some coffee.
I Alex just died inside.
And
I
but
just died inside.
what? The Keurig? What's wrong with the Keurig?
Yeah, you're putting the nice coffee through a Keurig.
I can make it in single servings.
I know it's efficient.
Like super easy.
You're a monster, but it's efficient.
Anyways, Weston 3D printed these little things that like when you wash out your cup, you can stick them down upside down
Oh,
on
that's
and
cool.
they'll dry
Yeah.
and it'll catch it. But I mean, it's just little stuff like that that you wouldn't think of. That like I saw that today and I was like, that's freaking awesome. So like, yeah. So I just love like the little things that you do that like no one else will appreciate. But if like you're in the shop every day and you see it, you go, finally.
Yeah.
So, which and send cut send is like a superpower for some of that stuff. Have you ever used like send cut send to like cut stuff out for shop improvements?
For shop improvements, no. We use Send Cut Send for design the everything on the carabiners initially, which remember caused the first great kerfluffle.
Hmm. Well, I actually designed a whole mount for our Mistaway collector on top of the links
Mm-hmm.
using send cut send, and they just had a local welder weld all the pieces together for us,
Nice.
and it turned out really good. But like we've used send cut send to make all sorts of like brackets and things around the shop. Like anytime we have to do an order and we are like ordering customer parts that like we'll use sheet metal to get the blanks cut out of, like we'll always find like a couple shop improvement things to like fit in there.
Yeah.
That way they come in with free shipping.
Yeah. I would like the ability to make metal brackets in my own shop, which will maybe come soon. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
But nothing has happened in that front yet. But it might.
Yeah. It is really nice. I got to make a send cut send bracket for the laser for a lean improvement, and I got to do another one for the Lynx lathe.
I've just been 3D printing all of my lean improvements to the point now where my 3D printer is kind of a bottleneck on them.
I would 3D print some of these, but they're so big that structurally like it just makes sense to do them out of sheet metal. Plus, at my old job, I used to make so much stuff out of sheet metal that it just makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I used to do a lot of sheet metal design too for the job where I was doing like the cash register stuff.
Yeah.
Though not in Fusion, and I've never really enjoyed Fusion's sheet metal tools that much. I was really fast at it in Inventor.
I did it in SolidWorks, and I want to shoot myself anytime I try to do it in Fusion. In fact, I tried to design the bracket for the links out of sheet metal in Fusion, and I redid it all in SolidWorks because I got frustrated with Fusion sheet metal.
Yeah.
Because it just was not cooperating. And I was like, I know I can do this in SolidWorks in like 2 minutes. So
I've been thinking about building a robot too.
Building a robot?
I was thinking about building like an Aroa style one to load pallets onto the Tormach.
Can I smack you through the screen? Like,
no.
would you feel that on your end if I like could...
Jacob does not approve of this idea.
No, not Harrison. But if I have like this idea,
but like sheet metal parts, some servos.
AJ, no, just no. If you want to do it as like a hobby for something fun, maybe.
Think about the content. Jamie would approve.
Oh my gosh. No.
Harrison does not approve. I do maybe also have a lead on a free robot.
I would be
I'm
more
working on that
inclined for
too.
that than anything else.
Well, yeah.
But
It'll also probably require a large amount of DIY. It's not free like Tormach, give me free robot. It's free as in get this robot out of here. But
yeah. Is it like a used old industrial one of some kind?
it's a used educational one.
Oh, that'd be in pretty good shape, I would imagine.
Yeah. So I guess I can say it. But it's possible that maybe potentially the school has some that I think they just don't match their other ones.
Oh, okay. The one you teach at?
So yes. The only problem is it's not on the campus I teach at. And
Ah,
there's some like complicated politics and logistics around there. So it may never happen just because public institution.
yeah.
But I'm attempting to.
That'd be cool. I remember when Saunders got that Fanic
Yeah.
Robo Drill and Robot combo. And
And now
then
he's going back to that. Not that one, but
yeah, it's kind of
he's like selling off his horizontal and going all robot fed.
Oh, I know. That will be interesting. I am shocked and amazed that he's doing that. Like
Does he still have his UMC for sale?
I don't think it's a bad thing. I'll just be curious to see how it does. And what was the deciding factor? Was it something that's been rattling around that he's been thinking about, or did someone convince him that it would be a good idea?
It seemed really sudden from the podcast end.
Yeah, like it was just, oh, by the way, I'm doing this. And so I was just curious of like what was his thought process that made him like decide to pull the trigger in that.
Yeah. His Okuma horizontal is on his website for sale.
Mm-hmm.
329,000. Yeah, 218 tools, 15,000 RPM spindle, conveyor. Yeah.
Is it wrong that I want it?
No. I think that'd be a great machine for you.
I have thought
You
like
need more power first, but
yeah, I need more power, but I have thought about like having enough 3-axis work to actually justify a machine like that would be awesome.
well, it's kind of 4.
It's kind of 4, yeah.
I have 4-axis with bad side access.
Yeah,
but
I will probably have a horizontal at some point if I had to guess. It's on my list.
I would not be shocked at all.
I'm like Pokemon with machines. Got to collect them all.
It's a shiny Swiss.
Yeah. No, that's yeah. It looks like he must have sold his UMC.
The UMC is off the website. Yeah.
Yeah.
That whoever got that got a great deal.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a good buy.
Well, speaking of goodbye.
All right, guys. It's that time of the podcast where I don't say our names, but I say goodbye. So thanks for hanging out with us. Hopefully you learned something through our ramblings and the chaos of the podcast that is the Unorganized Taps and Patience podcast. If you enjoyed us, please like, share, and tell everyone else about it. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. Have a good one.
Okay, bye.
Taps and patience, our daily grind. In this machine shop, we'll always find joyous struggles, all intertwined. Taps and patience, one of a kind.
There goes my
Jacob
music.
doesn't keep our music anyway when we outro.
He does it?
No, he edits it out and then edits it back in himself.
Oh.
Or sometimes adds in his own music, which I'm really excited for this week. Jacob, you better not let us down.
Does
the audience awaits.
When you play that to us, this is kind of a random question, but like, does it show up in one of our audio streams, or is it a third stream?
It's a third audio stream.
Oh.
So
cool.
He just gets rid of that audio stream and then adds it in himself. So there's definitely moments where we're like dancing and there's nothing.
We need like one of those like things that way we can match it up.
I mean, he could do it if he wanted to. He just chooses to let us dance.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
AJ grabs the mic with that grin so wide. Taps and patience, baby, buckle up for the ride. 15 minutes promised, no plug, that's the deal. We sit here with our beers, wondering when we'll feel. He's talking about life, love, and the meaning of grit. We're checking our watches, man, this better be it. Oh, AJ, sweet AJ, you're killing us slow. 15 minutes clean is the rule that we know. We're losing the faith, brother, our one's creeping in. Here comes subtract manufacturing again. Revolutionary tolerances, game-changing tech. We love you, but give us a break. We've timed it with stopwatches, we've graphed it for fun. The plug never lands till minute 61. It's smoother than bourbon, that pivot he makes. From existential rants to lightweight parts that don't break. We nod like we're shocked, and we didn't see it coming. Pass the bottle round, boys, the CEO's humming. Oh, AJ, sweet AJ, you're killing us slow. 15 minutes clean is the rule that we know. We're losing the faith, brother, our one's creeping in. Here comes subtract manufacturing again, disrupting the